it's an amazingly special thing to be able to show. And like you say, it's done in a way which is, I think, true and representative to that community.
Congratulations on Surface 2. It is a ride. I tore right through it, and then I had to start rewatching it because I forgot a lot of what happened.
Yeah, it's fast-paced. Yeah.
Yes, very quickly paced. So I'm going to go to you first, Gugu, and I'd love to ask you about this friendship with Eliza. Tess Sophie's friendship with Eliza, and it's a very complicated relationship, but it is meaningful to her. And I do love that a lot of what Hello Sunshine does is center women's friendships. And would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we love working with Hello Sunshine too. I think, this is such a female-driven story. And I think for Sophie, the dynamic with Eliza really evolves this season. In season 1, we saw Eliza sort of in flashback, these fragments of what we discover is a horse riding accident, but we're not quite sure where to place her and what this all means for Sophie, or Tess as she calls her. And now in season 2, Sophie's really on a mission to find out more about the Huntley family, Eliza's family, and really infiltrate this aristocratic dynasty. And in that process, she's trying to regain the trust of Eliza. And I think it's such an interesting, delicate dance that they're both on, because for Sophie, I think she really wants to find out the truth about her mother's death. And in a way, because she still doesn't have many memories, she's trying to still find clues and trying to get information from Eliza, whilst also acknowledging that they were really close in their younger years. So it's sort of a delicate relationship that goes on so many twists and turns in the story.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and Millie, I'd love to ask you, I am with the LGBTQ media, and so I want to ask you that this character of Eliza is a queer character. It's no big deal is made out of it. She just exists in her full self, which is actually, especially here in the States, becoming more of a radical kind of thing to put out in the world. So I wonder, would you just talk about what that means to you to be able to bring some visibility to this character?
It's an amazingly special thing to be able to show. And like you say, it's done in a way which is, I think, true and representative to that community. And the thing is that she's representative of like a whole new kind of part of her family, which is breaking away from these like traditional like roles that we see in kind of aristocracy. And so I think she's just like a trailblazer who is wanting to leave that behind and live in her truth, which I think is what she does. Like she just, and it's difficult. I think she's constantly pulled back into that, and then also wanting to just like live in her truth.
Yeah.
I think that it's
about authenticity, really, I think,
yes,
as well.
there's so much of that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think that they're both trying to find the truth of their own separate journeys, and yet they intersect and interweave. And, I think at the end of the day, Eliza and Sophie, will always mean a lot to each other. And I think it's very complex, the family dynamic is very complex and in some ways shocking to them both. But I think, they're both on the quest to reveal the truth about the Huntley family, essentially, their family. So anyway, not to give away too many spoilers, but yeah.
I know.
Complex. Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure I get to you, Oliver. James is speaking of complexity, he's a complex character. I mean, we've been on this ride with him. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What is, but I think the heart of it is that people are multitudes and many things. Would you talk a little bit about playing this character who straddles that line?
Well, I mean, I completely agree with you. And I think that we were talking about this earlier about I feel like in the world we love to kind of, one thing is we love to kind of make things black and white. We like to kind of have everything be, it's either this or it's that. And it doesn't ever have to be that. And I think what's so interesting about these characters and the characters that Veronica West has written here is that no one is a good person or a bad person or this or that. It's kind of who we are as people. It's a lot messier, and we don't like that mess. Like for some reason that mess, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I don't in my own life don't deal very well with mess. I need things to be sort of orderly, and actually that's just not part, I believe, of how life is. It is messy and it is ugly, and we have behaviors that are questionable, and we strive for good, don't always get there. And I think that that's what's so interesting about playing a character within that realm, is that an audience they will decide what they want. They will form their own opinion of James. But I personally believe that he is someone that has been so deeply hurt, and so much of his action comes from that place. So he is fighting back from a wounded place, which I also think is very honest. Like, it feels very true. We see this happen a lot. Someone asked me earlier, they said, would you rather, should James have just stayed in San Francisco? And I was like, I think I would have just stayed in San Francisco. If it was me, you know what I mean? Just like that, no mess, I'll just keep myself out of it.
Right.
But
then we wouldn't have a season 2.
Exactly.
Exactly.